you were asking about the intention of these, where we were talking about the intention of these privilege walks.
Right.
Yeah. So you said your issue with them is the intention behind them. So,
Right.
so what do you perceive that? Yeah. So what do you perceive that intention to be?
I think the intention is to ingrain in kids that it's not fair that people, have through no choice or fault of their own. I don't necessarily know if inequality is the right word, but some people have it better than others, and there's a lot of things that can contribute to that.
And why do you think that might be beneficial for a child to learn?
I don't know. I don't even think
you can't think of a single reason why it might be beneficial for.
Well, I can, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. I don't know.
I'm not. I'm asking you, sir, as an individual person. I'm not asking you to put words in my mouth. I'm asking you.
I think could be a potential good that could come
from it.
Yeah. I guess like in the day, if there were kids who didn't have as nice a clothes, kids would make fun of them. And I guess maybe one of the goals would be to change that type of behavior. I don't think it would work very well. I don't know if there's any data and if that kind of bullying in school and stuff is down. I don't know. I don't know if one of the goals is to make them, I don't know, other than like really vague terms of saying like helping them develop empathy for others or be grateful for the good things in their lives or things like little basic platitudes. I don't know what a good goal of it is. Like I know what I think the goal of it is, and I think that's bad. But I don't want to go on with that because maybe what I think the goal of it is completely different than what you think it is.
I mean, I just find it interesting that you think, first of all, the empathy is somehow not clear and somehow nebulous. It's not.
Well, sure, but there's a lot of ways you can develop empathy. Like I said,
listen. That's neither here nor there, brother. Like no one's arguing against the fact that there's other ways to develop empathy, but like, what you said about it is that it's like not a good reason to do this. I disagree. I think a lot of people.
I said that would be a good reason.
Well, I mean, that's what it does, and that is one of the stated reasons for doing it by people who engage in them. So if you think it's a good reason, then no.
But like you said, there's a lot of different things that you can do to develop empathy. It wasn't a spin of the wheel. How did we end up with this one for that?
I don't think that's a meaningful question, but like I think that
what I'm getting at is developing empathy is not the only reason that we have privilege walks. Someone didn't sit down and say we're going to try and develop empathy on kids, and somehow we came up with privilege walks. Like there was more to
again, it I don't think that's meaningful what you're saying, even if it's true. Like who cares? Huh? I don't know. I didn't develop privilege walks, dude. Do you know who developed them? Do you know how they started?
I have read about it before, actually. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but I do remember it being very weird.
Okay, well, that doesn't help us here.
That's all I can say.
Okay, like, I don't know.
Anyone who wants to look into it, it might be a really cool story. Other than that, but like, was that what you were going to say? You were going to say the point of it is to develop empathy and nothing else?
I mean, no, I didn't say that. I did say, you said empathy, and what I was saying is that would be a good goal, a good reason to do it, and you agreed. But you said
that's the only good one I could come up with. Yeah.
Okay,
if I had to come up with a good one, that would be it.
Okay, well, it's a pretty big one because I think that what we see in our society is that a lot of people are lacking empathy right now.
Sure.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of like
I agree.
So there's like a 1-to-1 to doing them and something that we need in our society. So like that's not the real issue. Then maybe I think what you were saying is that it's not that it can't have positive benefits for our society and our children. It's that you think that the intention behind having people do them is not to create those benefits, is to do something else. What you said that's something else.
For one, well, kind of. Empathy is part of it, but the reason that I don't think that's a good enough reason is because I think it has other effects that are bad, for one, that outweigh the good. And two, if
Do you
we're just
really?
trying to teach empathy, like I said, there are far better ways to do it. So if I'm gonna jump on board with an empathy, teach the kids empathy, I think that obviously we could come up with something better than that and something that doesn't have other bad potential effects.
So, Rocco, do you really think you're qualified to say what the bad potential effects are or what we could do is better or worse? Do you
Yes.
really? Why?
Why not?
Well, for one, you had such a hard time thinking about the benefits of doing a privilege walk in the first place. Like, I mean, I'm going to go over some
I
other
still do.
ones. Right. And so, like, don't you think that if that's hard for you, then maybe you're not the one?
Don't you think it could also be that maybe there just aren't a lot of good benefits to it?
I mean, it could be or not.
It could be or not. That's what I think.
Okay, but you don't know. And so, like,
I mean, you don't know either. I know as much as anybody else does.
well, not really, brother. I teach students. You know, I'm a teacher for 20 years now. Like, I know a lot about education, teaching, and learning, and I know about SEL. You know, the precursor to all this
Dude,
stuff. Right, right, right.
bad, real bad.
Okay, okay. Your personal opinion, but like, it's not based on a profession, right? You're not a teacher, right?
I mean, this is not something that's come down through like years of vigorous study. There's nothing that is shown. SEL is shown to raise empathy in kids. It's not shown to do any of these things. So anyone who says that they have a master's degree in SEL or they've studied SEL forever, it's no better than a fortune teller. It's not a science. It's a theory. Anyone can sit around and say, "Hey, I think this and this and this, therefore I've studied it." Like, it's not something you could study forever. It's something that came around, and it's not what it claims to be, and it's demonstrably ineffective and in fact harmful. And you can't just say, "Oh, but we want to make kids more empathetic," and then I say, "But there's better ways to teach empathy," and you agree with me. And I say,
I
"So
didn't
why
agree with
did
that.
we end up
I didn't
on
agree
the
with that.
privilege walk?"
I said there's other ways to teach empathy, which is true. I didn't say that they were better or worse. You're the one making a claim about what's better and worse to do. I'm not doing that. But like,
On that, yeah, I am.
yeah. So like, listen, I hear you. I hear what you're saying, but I'm just trying to get you to think about what you're saying a little bit more. Which like
I've thought
you
about it,
are
and I'm thinking about it even as I talk.
okay. Well, you're
I'm
putting
thinking.
yourself as like the arbiter of what's best in this
No, I'm not
context.
putting myself as the arbiter of what's best.
You definitely
I'm
are.
saying
You're saying you
I
can
can see
rank.
something that's bad. I
Hang on.
can
Let me explain,
understand
Rocco.
why
Let
it's
me explain
bad. I
why I
can
said that,
articulate
Rocco.
what's bad.
Rocco, let me explain why I said it. It's because you
Sure.
think that you are qualified to rank what is best in education for students to be learning and doing and engaging in, even though you're not
No,
a
I'm saying
professional in
I
education.
can locate one really bad thing, learn about it, see why it's bad, understand why it's bad, look at data that shows that it's not good, and determine that. I don't
You
have to be
haven't
able to
done that,
rank
brother.
everything in education.
You have not done that. There, I mean, it's very
Yes,
clear.
I have done that.
No, no, no. It's very clear talking to you right now that that is not the case. So, like, I'm sorry.
What have I said that's wrong?
What makes you think that you've done it, bro? Like, it's hard.
Because
It's
I
hard for
was
me to
there. I did it.
understand. What?
Because I was there. I did it.
You were there
Now,
where?
I'm not just some guy who was just like 6 months ago. Hey, this
I'm
sounds
asking
interesting. I've
you.
read
Tell
about this
me,
stuff for
where were
quite
you?
a
What
while.
is there? I was there. What does that mean? I don't even know.
Well, you said, how do I know about the things that I've read about? Like, because I was the one reading them. How do
What
I
did
know
you
I
read, bro?
understand these
What did
things?
you read?
Because I'm me and I have access to my brain and I can tell if I understand something or
What
not.
did you read, brother?
What did I read about what in particular?
What did you do to try to understand this stuff?
I've read about SEL. I've read about the goals of SEL, the origins of SEL, what each one of those is, supposed to be. I've looked at what the actual programs are that are put into practice. It's a bad thing. And it's not any of the whole goal of it is not to, we're just going to make kids have more empathy because empathy is useful in the world. That's not what this is.
Yeah, I never claimed that that's what it is. Okay, so we're
Then we agree. That's not what it is.
no, no,
So
no. We don't agree, but like,
what is it?
what we agree on, the part that we agreed on is that engaging in some of these things is beneficial for students. That's what we agreed on.
I do not believe that engaging in a privilege walk is beneficial for students, and there's not anything that shows that it is.
You did say that it's a way of teaching empathy and that we need to
No,
teach
I
students.
said if I had to come up with one positive reason that I could think that would sound like a good idea to do this, that would be the only thing I could come up with. And it's the same answer I gave if you were like, why do we have kids pet puppies? Why do we, empathy is something you can teach a lot of different ways. And it's not even really for something you can teach, really. Empathy is maybe even unfair. I don't know if you can just talk someone into being an empathetic person. What we're trying
it sounds like you don't know a lot
is,
about it. So, like, why do you think that you know? Like you're at the same time you're saying, I don't know about this, I don't know about that regarding empathy, I don't know about this regarding empathy. You're also saying at the same time that you do know that there are better ways of teaching
I think we could discuss something better than whether or not I'm an expert on empathy.
No, because this is material. Here. No, it's material to the point, right? Because if you're not an expert on empathy, and
I am willing to cede that I am not an expert on empathy.
Okay, so then let's see it as well that you don't know for sure whether there are better or worse ways of teaching empathy because of that.
No, I guarantee I know that there are better and worse ways of teaching empathy. Hitting a kid over the head with a hammer would be a really bad way of teaching empathy, and I definitely know that. Would you agree? Would you agree that like teaching empathy isn't something we have like this masterful exact science where you can get a PhD in empathy and look at all the years that we sat kids in a lab and tested to see how empathetic they'd be? No one's a freaking expert in empathy, dude.
Honestly, I think that
whether or not people become empathetic, you can look at what is empathy, what kind of things would, invoke empathy in me and try it on other people and see how if it works. No one is an expert on empathy, and I don't think that me not being an expert on empathy disqualifies anything that I have to say about literally anything.
Okay, probably about empathy it does, and you said a lot about it. So, like, that's why I brought it up.
You're not an expert on empathy either, so neither one of us is qualified to talk about it, and let's move on.
Okay, if you like. I do consider myself an expert on empathy, as I've...
well, I consider myself an expert on empathy, too, so we're on level ground.
Okay, you just said you didn't think that, so now you're changing because
I changed my mind, man. Once I realized we could just consider ourselves experts on empathy, shit, I'm in.
I mean, that's funny. All right, so like...
I empathize with you, bro. I'm in.
I mean, it's just funny because like... it's on my public profile, like it's something that I've already decided about myself. You just agreed that you weren't one, but now you're changing because I said it. So like,
because I thought we were talking about having something other than just identifying as an expert in empathy.
Well, I mean,
but if you can identify as an expert in empathy, then shit, I also fit that criteria.
I mean, I was about to explain why, but then you cut me off by saying that you...
I mean, why does it matter why? I don't even believe you can be an expert.
Right, I know.
In empathy.
So like, there's no point in me explaining,
right? Explain to me why you can like read minds, because I don't believe you can be an expert in empathy.
It's okay, brother. Like, I mean, your belief is not required for people to be things and do things. So like, it's just like...
Fly with the eagles, bro.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I mean, like, there are plenty of people who could do things.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to be confrontational, but
no, it's fine. It's fine. There's just plenty of people who could do things that you don't understand and know about. And that's just like part of being a human being. Thanks for watching. For access to the full-length conversation and all of the 2-hour-long unedited conversations that I've had on race, click the support link in the description below. Thanks for your support and see you next time.